Today we're down here at Satola, Georgia on the Glades Road. We're talking with Jesse Ray Owens. Now Jesse Ray's been right here a long time. How long, Jesse?
86 years.
86 years. And
Most all of it. It's about 9 years out of pocket, but
9 years, and that was when you went to Army World War
yeah.
II? Tell us when you went in.
I went in May, first day of May, 43. And I stayed in till 16th day of March in 46.
Germany?
In Germany, so that's where I went when I got done training. I went to Camp Stewart, Georgia, though. You know, we went to Fort Benning first to be sworn in and examined, and all that had been inducted in. And that took 3 days to get that all over with.
Oh, 3 days. Well, did you see a lot of heavy action?
Well, I heard a lot more than I've seen, but I've seen a lot, too much.
Well, thanks to people.
See, I was in the 3rd Army, and I was in the anti-aircraft battalion.
Oh,
And we set up, and the first guns I've heard, we was in Luxembourg. You know, that's a little country between Belgium and Germany, just a little bitty country.
yeah, over there.
And it was not from neither side. It was because the Germans did come get all of their men folks, so, stole them, took them away in handcuffs. But that's General Patton's headquarters. When we set up our guns around his headquarters, keep the enemy planes from coming in. But just a mile and a half away from there, that's where the Battle of the Bulge had just started. The 26th day of 44 of December. That's when we got to the front lines. The day after Christmas.
Yeah. That's when it got rough.
And that's when, yeah. And
Weather.
we was in the battle from that day on for 140 days.
Well, thanks to folks like you and Edgar and all these other good servants, that's why we're not under their rule today.
Well, I guess it's had a hand in it.
Well, yeah.
And there's lots and lots of people killed there in the Battle of the Bulge, though. The Americans lost 9,500 in that one battle. And after we broke the Bulge and broke the lines, and it didn't take long to go all the way through Germany.
Yes, sir. That's.
Did you say 140 days?
Yeah, 140 days on the front line.
Wow, that's almost 5 months, night and day?
Yeah, there's no time after we entered you couldn't hear guns are going off, see the flashes at night and hear them up at daytime, just like it's over that ridge right there.
I've seen those old film clips and the snow and the freezing.
Well, there's one second, third day we was there, we hadn't got set up really good. The second night we was there, it come a 8-inch snow and then turned cold. And it got down to 15 below zero. Of course, we happened to be in tents, at that time. But a lot of the guns that hadn't got set up froze to the ground. Nobody couldn't. Even the Germans was hypo die as long as it stayed that cold spell. It still was, shooting across the lines, and the artillery was. Then it stayed cold. They a lot of people got frostbite.
I said they treated it with developing fluid, like for photographs.
I don't know what happened, but
Treat the frostbite.
But I was a cook over there. I was lucky. I got to stay in a building there in Luxembourg.
Yeah.
I didn't know that till we all got over there. And then in gun section, it takes 24 people to run a gun section. You've got the half tracks and the 50 millimeter guns. Them shoots four barrels that sets up on the tripod. And a 20 millimeter was their big gun.
What did you cook? Taters?
Taters.
Yeah.
They called them taters. It looked like powder to me. Everything's dehydrated, the vegetable and all.
You were born right down here in this log house?
Yeah, there in that old house right over there.
We'll go down and look at it in a minute.
Yeah, you can see part of it. It's growed up around it now.
And your main living with your family was farming.
Yeah.
Tell me about those apples.
Oh, these Wolf River apples.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My dad, he was he growed up and knowing how to do everything, I reckon, but his dad was before him.
You think your
and
grandpa planted them?
Do what?
Your grandpa planted them here, you think?
Well, I don't know. He was on the tree when we got here, but my dad, he took the buds off of his daddy's tree and put buds in trees here. And we had 3 or 4 of these. No, he buds, just one bud. He didn't know how to graft. You know, most people take a stick about 6 or 8 inches long and do the grafting. But he just take one bud out of a limb and put it in another small stick and wrap it up. And of course, back then we had this wool string, you know, made socks out of, put a little beeswax on it, and it growed from that.
Take right over.
And
What kind are these?
these are Stark's Delicious, Yellow Delicious. These here is the old time Stark Delicious. The first delicious apples that ever growed was come from, you know where that trailer park is just across the line up here?
Yeah.
It's Mac Wilson Road.
Right.
And there used to be a Salinas orchard. Some old lady had that orchard. And she had all of the, all the new brand of apples, everything.
I see one.
And
Get one out.
and the old man, Harrison Talley,
Grab one up. One up. Yeah.
they're just like the rest of them.
Starks?
Stark's Delicious, and what makes them identify themselves, they got the red specks in the bark. Or not the bark, but the peeling.
Yeah, okay. I've learned something today.
But now, you know, you get them, they don't even look yellow and they don't taste. You
I
can
know
eat one
what's
of these like twice.
Yeah, I'll get one. I've seen these and thought there was something else.
And I don't know what these are. This is just apples that make seeds and come up. I mean, every once in a while you get them. Most of the time they're just little scrawny apples, but sometimes they get to be big apples. And we got 4 trees, they're no-name apples. Whitens and stripeds and some dark red ones. They're up in the field. You'd have to walk to see them, but it'd be worth the walk.
You think Johnny Appleseed made the trip through here too?
Well, they claim he did. Then there's a man followed him, his name was Coffer. And that's one of his trees over there in the garden. Just got them apples on right there in the Edgar's garden. Yeah, that's a Coffer. Dad always said they told him it's Coffer seedling. I remember when he put the bud in, but I don't remember where he got it. He went somewhere else and got it. Well, and they get big as these. They're about this size when they get grown, and they last about half the winter, but they're good cooking apples too.
So when you were young and all the kids around, your brothers and sisters, you had to put up a lot of apples.
Oh yeah, they didn't let nothing go to rot if they couldn't can it. They'd peel it and lay it out in the sun, you know.
Dry it out.
And had dried apples. I remember having dry, I don't know how many bushels of canned apples. And they always can them in half-a-gallon jars, you know, fruit jars, because the quart wasn't near enough to get started. But they one thing about the family, though, you know, from 1904 to 1931, there's a lot of difference in age as they went down the line. And my dad, he was married twice, really. You know, he was married, his first wife and had 6 kids by her. Then she died. Then 4 years later, he married my mom and then started over and had 6 more. And that was the reason there was 12 kids.
12 kids.
But you had to put up a lot of food for 12 kids.
Yeah, you know, it's strange and how they done that too. Even when we got big enough to go berry picking and the blackberries, they'd go berry picking and had walked from over to 4 miles back over there where my mama growed up after they moved out. And them old fields would grow up in blackberries. And everybody could carry a bucket to go and pick berries. And they'd get 2 or 3 bushels of blackberries, get them all ready to start canning next day. And there might be 50 or 60 half-a-gallon cans on that one canning. But I don't know how they afforded that many cans and lids. And of course, they wasn't the kind of lids they got now either. They had a rubber band. Did you remember the rubber band that went around them and
Zinc top.
a zinc top that scooped down on it. And it had a glass top in it, but there was metal over it too.
I've always thought there's so much bounty here in these mountains. I mean, between the blackberries and the apples and the grapes, and you can have a lot of fruit.
Well, there's oodlings of fruit, and about everybody, and we did too, had peach trees. You know, that some was early peaches and some was fall peaches, and they was peaches from the middle of summer on till it frosted. But they wasn't like to buy now. They tasted like peaches, you know, really. Now we canned lots of them too.
Wasn't no way to put them in a big churn. That way we had to.
No, I don't remember ever putting anything in the churns, but the pickled beans and
you have
kraut.
You make kraut too?
Yeah,
over here?
and there's wooden 30-gallon barrel, I guess.
30-gallon kraut. That'd be a.
There'd be lots of kraut, but there's lots of good eating too. Pickled beans is better to me than the kraut was. I like pickled beans and homemade syrup.
Huh, I never heard of pickled beans. I heard of making leather breeches, but not pickled
Yeah,
beans.
we made a lot of leather breeches too.
How'd you make pickled beans?
Well, I don't really know because I know you had to break them up, and then you had to put lots of pickling salt in them. But from there on, I don't know what it took.
Yeah.
You had to cook them so long, I know,
Right.
but you didn't cook them done. Then you'd put them down in that wooden barrel and then put the juices all in there. And it went through a stage, but I don't know. And they always had a big cloth, you know, I guess a piece of bed sheet, white cloth, put around and kept it tied on there, keep the air from the insects out.
Yeah, keep the bugs out of it.
And the same way with kraut, you know, we put it in there.
Yeah, and it
in
would
the
be
big
white
barrel.
and crunchy. It'd be crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that soft kraut's no good.
You know, a lot of old people, it was a little bit odd how they acted, but the drunks would come in, you know, to the people that had feeling bad and all that, and they'd want some kraut.
You mean
And they'd tell them to go, the barrel's sitting there, going to get some. They're going to just dip them out a handful, you know, like that.
You mean
that needed.
some old boy'd been on a whiz and be sick and he'd come and want kraut?
Yeah, that was something about the kraut that made you feel better.